What is an exceptional education? Is it the potential for opportunity? The promise of equity? Access for all? For some students and parents, these are not guaranteed. For some, there are systemic and structural barriers to an equitable education. For some, zip codes determine opportunity, and opportunity determines outcomes. Teach for America Alabama strives to create a different reality, to be an advocate for children in low-income communities. We recruit leaders who want meaningful change and believe all children deserve an excellent education. Our mission is simple: to find, develop, and support equity-oriented leaders, to transform education, and to expand opportunities with children starting in the classroom. Because education is a critical factor in unleashing a child's full potential. What we do for them today can ripple out into their future and their communities and provide more meaningful opportunity.
Now is the time to set a bold vision about what will be true of our next decade. While there's been progress in our education landscape, we've never been more clear-eyed and convicted about the work that needs to be done and the role our entire network can play over the next 10 years.
So I think the beauty of TFA Alabama's mission is that they've kind of imagined a world where if they just recruit people who are maybe slightly more inclined than average to be a little curious or a little hardworking and make them live a problem day in and day out, there's this really beautiful imagination that happens in reality where these people then, the teachers who make up TFA Alabama, as they're living in the problem, they're able to kind of try to solve it. I definitely, thanks to my time in TFA, believe that education inequity is a solvable problem. And I know this because part of my mission in both doing Teach for America, teaching high school English, which I do still today, and running the Cap and Gown Project, is to be the adult that I wish I would have had when I was a kid. Just like the problem is cyclical, the solution is also cyclical. If we empower students, those students will go on to empower others, whether it's their own children or their future students or kids in their community. And that's where the solution happens. It may not be from me directly or in my lifetime even, but the students who I've taught will make gains towards the same goal.
Our own history began very simply. 3 Black Belt community members sitting down at a diner in rural Alabama put forth the idea to bring Teach for America to our state, and in partnership with others, to pursue education equity for students across Alabama. Despite the odds, they were able to guarantee 30 teachers a place to work in 6 districts in Alabama's Black Belt. Many of the first class of Alabama Corps members come from colleges and communities across the country. They had a commitment to walk shoulder to shoulder with community members, teachers, and partners to shape the trajectories of students' lives. To this day, our teachers forge connections beyond the classroom. They become partners with the communities they serve.
My hope for Teach for America Alabama for the next 10 years is that it continue training, seeking, and recruiting people who are willing to go into their various communities with an open mind and an open heart, seeking first to understand the problems that exist and fighting with the students, fighting with the parents, ultimately to achieve those goals, and that is providing both equitable opportunities and access to excellent education for every child in the state.
TFA Alabama has grown so much. They're always really great and you're like, oh, this is such a great year, we did awesome. And then the next year it just gets even better. TFA Alabama really pushes you to find who you are at your core. Most, if not every single TFA Corps member can tell you that they really understand their values. And when you think you understand them, then we'll meet for a summit or we'll meet for a coaching call or we'll meet for something and it's like, okay, how can you challenge yourself a little bit further? How can you learn a little bit more? If TFA, whether you're in the classroom or not, you're always gonna have that teacher in your pocket. Like I know I still have my TFA teachers, I still call them by their teacher names, and they're always there when I need something. Even now as I'm thinking of, do I wanna stay in the classroom for a 3rd year or do I want to move on? I just have to think about what my long-term plans are, but whatever those may be, I know I'm always gonna be a part of the family. So whether somebody else needs me or it's my students or just somebody who's curious, I just know I'll be there.
In the years since our beginning, the Alabama region of Teach for America has grown to reach communities in rural Alabama and some of our largest urban areas. Our alumni base, comprised of former Corps members, is growing rapidly, with more than 250 alumni living and working in Alabama. These are teachers who are taking on major policy roles, becoming community pillars and school leaders. But the work is not done. The journey toward ensuring every child gets an excellent education matters today to shape a different tomorrow. And the need for change is greater than it has ever been. Our nation's civil and racial unrest has shone a harsh light on years of systemic racism that puts children of color at a disadvantage in classrooms and communities. We know that an excellent education is our best hope for breaking this cycle and creating a more just society for all people. Teach for America Alabama remains community-centered, bold, and committed to changing an equitable system still in place. Systems that are impacting students and their ability to attain an excellent education in the state of Alabama.
We enjoy our partnership with Teach for America because through that partnership, our scholars are provided high-quality, effective teachers who come from diverse backgrounds. The diversity from a racial standpoint, from a geographic standpoint, and even just from the standpoint of the experiences that they bring to the table are a lift for us and definitely give us an opportunity to make sure that we are living out our vision. And we already have seen results from that because our Teach for America Corps members are very active within their schools and within the district. The teacher shortage is the biggest highlight for all of us, and this is in a high-poverty rural community. And for many new teachers, it's not as attractive to live there as it would be to live in Birmingham or Montgomery. But our Corps members want to live in Selma and want to work with our scholars and their families.
This year, Teach for America Alabama is celebrating our 10th year. There's no better time than now to celebrate where we've been, but more importantly, focus on where we're going. We must continue to increase our reach and allow our teachers to impact more students and communities. We must continue to recruit at home and across our country to add to our already forward-thinking and committed team of individuals. We must continue to make a difference here in Alabama for many, many years to come. We must deliver what is just for all children, regardless of race or class, an excellent education.
As far as experience with TFA started when I was in high school. They saw enough in me and thought enough of me to recommend me for the Haas program. For 4 weeks, we did intensive ACT prep, took different classes in like English and math and things like that. And we also got a chance to tour various colleges, learn things like financial literacy at Bridgeworth, also had a mock trial, which to actually try a case in front of the Honorable Judge Teresa Pulliam. It was just an amazing experience. For me, it was always really amazing to see that these people who didn't even really know me, who really didn't have to do the things they did for us, would take the time to do these things for us.
They knew that he wanted to go to law school. So after the symposium, he was able to shadow the judge that did it. So that was a great experience for him because that's what he wanted to major in. So that was an experience that, I couldn't have given him.
So it really just gave me more of a community, like even within the legal field, because it exposed me to different lawyers and attorneys and judges. Whereas like my mom said, growing up in a rural area, I wouldn't have really had that.
He got a chance to do some of the things I knew that in a rural area he wouldn't have been able to do. He got a chance to tour places that I know he wouldn't have been able to do, given from where we're from. So it was really worth it.
I thought long and hard about my decision to apply to Teach for America. I knew when I wanted to teach that I wanted to teach in an environment that needed teachers, in an area that is traditionally and historically under-resourced and underserved. And so I thought, wanting to teach in that environment, wanting to make a difference in that way, what organization could best help me reach those goals? And I found that Teach for America was the organization whose mission most closely aligned with the idea that all children deserve the opportunity for an equal education. So my student Jillian is now a sophomore at Yale, which is really fun and exciting. But in her application essay to Yale, she talked a lot about educational inequity and growing up in Bessemer and not having some of the opportunities that her peers in more affluent districts have. In order for me to teach her that and bring those resources to kids, I have to credit Teach for America and the conversations we had in Teach for America Alabama in particular with enabling me with not only like the background knowledge in education, but also the best ways to communicate those concepts to students, to make them not feel limited by where they came from, but empowered to keep moving forward.
There are a couple of things that I think TFA is going to have to do in order to stay true to its mission. I think, first of all, it's already on its path of continuously realigning itself with what is possible, with what is necessary in order for the mission to be possible. And so one of the things I really appreciate about Teach for America Alabama is this commitment to, it's almost like science. It's a commitment to what works best and how do we apply it with everybody that we know. We have to focus on doing the work to find the people who have the potential that we haven't yet seen. Teach for America Alabama pushing itself to be consistently uncomfortable in its growth is something that I expect to see continuously going forward, because I think that's what makes me proud to be an alum of Teach for America Alabama. Love is an action verb. It's something you choose every single day. And so making sure that Alabama has the same sort of love that we have for our kids is going to be something that is a small, easy opportunity for us to just mobilize to some degree the troops to get that fire sort of bubbling within us.
Teach for America Alabama is a community of change makers. We are a collective force of educators, advocates, entrepreneurs, policymakers, and community members. We fight for students. We fight for families. We fight for communities. Together, we help shape the conversation about what's possible. We are reimagining education to realize the day when every child has an equal opportunity to learn, to grow, to influence, and to lead. Through teaching in our public schools and partnering with children and families in communities that are most impacted by educational inequity, we are helping to strengthen the education system and shape the future of our state. We are Teach for America Alabama.
For our teachers, we know they have the potential to have an extraordinary impact on students, and we will continue to find, develop, and support exceptional leaders to become life-changing forces in the lives of the students they serve. For our alumni, we're going to continue to provide the resources and training to be systems change leaders. We aspire to move more Teach for America alumni into leadership roles that impact communities and schools. And we are going to leverage our existing network to continue to accelerate progress toward an equitable education. And for our students, in partnership with others, we will prepare them to learn, to lead, and to thrive. We will help create an education system for all students in Alabama, regardless of the school district or zip code, so that by 2030, twice as many children are reaching key educational milestones and are on path to economic mobility and creating futures filled with possibility.